Welcome to We Watch Stupid. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Diana. We are switching lanes going into Love is Blind season 5. The first couple episodes, we're going to start off talking about their life in the pods.
I noticed when I was rewatching this and look, it shows you how many episodes are in the other seasons. Like the last season, season 4, had 16 episodes. This season only has 11.
Yeah. And that includes the reunion.
Yeah, and I know. Do you think that this format, do you think Love is Blind is going to continue to work in the way that maybe like season 1 and 2 worked? Because it seems like to me the format is falling apart.
I think they casted incorrectly. I feel like in the past, there were some I don't want to say desperate, but what's a better word for desperate? Very
Love addicts.
yes, and we're willing to compromise their lives and make accommodations, and it didn't seem that way this time.
Yeah, people are like secure and shit and don't want to
Yeah.
withstand emotional duress.
Exactly.
Yeah, it felt like with this season as a whole, because we're spoiled. We've both seen the whole thing, so it's not like we're seeing this for the first time when we're talking about this. It just seems like people are really choosing their emotional comfort in this season over getting all the way to the altar with someone weird.
Who knew Houston had that in them?
I know. Very different from Dallas that we had. Was that last season or the season before? I think Dallas was season 3.
So yeah, I think last time was Seattle.
Right. Yeah. Season 4 was Seattle. Yeah. Very, very interesting. I'm just so, I wonder if like Houston it seems like there's a lot of oil and gas, like both Milton and Lydia are oil and gas engineers. And yeah, I just wonder if like there's just like a concentration of, I don't know, engineering types there that makes it this way. I don't know. I've never been to Houston.
Engineering types are emotionally comfortable.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to differentiate it from other seasons. I guess Seattle, we saw a lot of nerds on that season, and there were a lot of people that got married, for better or worse. So
Yeah, I mean, the nerd thing is one thing. I think it's if you're, I feel like transplants would love this sort of thing. Then they get their person in the city, but I think the experiment is still cool.
yeah, it is pretty wild. Would you do it if you were still single?
No, I wouldn't, because I need someone tall. I couldn't. You're not supposed to talk about anything physical, right?
Yeah. I think they do it in coded ways.
Could I lift you on my shoulders and
yeah,
at a music
shit
festival?
like gross. What was that guy's name?
I
Ash?
don't remember.
Yeah, coded stuff like that. Or on the Dallas season, there was that woman that was a ballerina that kept talking about being a ballerina. I'm sure Stacy talked about being a Pilates teacher a lot,
Yeah.
I think there's different ways to talk about it.
Yeah, and okay, I'm trying to imagine being tall is part of my personality, for better or worse. It kind of is, and oh man, whatever. We won't go into it, but in the pandemic, when I switched jobs and I was just on a Zoom screen, and I was like, wow, everyone just no one knows how tall I am. It's but in every other work situation, it's a thing. It's oh my gosh, she's so tall.
I don't think that's part of, I know I've known you a long time. I don't feel like being tall is part of your personality. I think it's part of it's had to become part of your identity somehow because people don't let you forget it.
It definitely is stature and health and all of that. That is part of dating.
Sure.
If you're super active, you're probably not going to be into someone who isn't as active.
Yeah.
Okay, we digress. Let's get into so it starts off with that like annoying like Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey like is love is blind? We sure hope you prove it is.
Oh my gosh, they asked some question about sex, I think, and Aaliyah wants to know if someone is gonna be sucking her toes all the time. She, like, she says, like, she wants to know about fetishes because it's like, "I wanna know if somebody's gonna be sucking my toes every day," and I'm like, "Oh, wow, yeah, either she must really not like that or she had a bad experience where that came
Yeah.
out later." I love that, I love Aaliyah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, should we just like should we jump into Uche and Aaliyah and that?
Sure. Bleh, oh my god.
Okay.
He
It
just,
was
like
hard to watch the first time, and then I was rewatching it. It was way more aggravating. He's just a jerk.
the creepiest part about this for me is like they had that conversation where he finds out like Aaliyah admits to him that she cheated with a partner at one point, and then he goes back to the lounge and he's telling JP about it, and he says out loud, a grown man says out loud that he's usually not always able to see other people's perspectives, but he's really trying to right now. I'm like, you just told on yourself big time.
Yeah. At least he's mindful, but the way that he reacted, that, like, harsh judgment and then, like, speaking for her, I disagreed with everything he said. 2 years is a long time.
Okay, that happened 2 years ago. If you do the math, she was like 25 or 26 at the time. I was so horny when I was 25, and it sounds like she was with some guy who wasn't letting her have an orgasm for like 2.5 years. That would be which means she was like 23 when they got together. That would be infuriating. Like, I wouldn't I
No.
wouldn't be able to deal with that either.
And there's so many reasons why she wouldn't break up with him. Friend groups, maybe he was emotionally abusive, like, there's so many reasons. And can we just jump into him saying that, like, when he was going into, like, "Well, did you tell your boyfriend?"
That's
Like,
not your business, Uche.
it's not his business, and I agree well, I'm not exactly sure what Aaliyah said exactly, but she didn't tell him, like, yeah, why tell him? To clear her conscience and put this burden on him? That's what ends up happening. It's not about, like, owning up to your, like, faults and, like, being transparent. It's just yeah, you're embarrassed and shamed. Don't put and you did something that hurt someone. Why then actually hurt them?
Because not only does that hurt your relationship with them, your potential to be in and of course, every situation is different, but, like, the way that she's explaining it, it sounds like she didn't wanna hurt him. That like, when you hear about people having trust issues and you hear about people not being able to move on from previous relationships, a lot of times because they were cheated on and they can't get over it, and so she's kind of, like, saving him that that guilt or shame or whatever.
Exactly. Because like, imagine that conversation with him, like, "I cheated on you 3 months ago. I needed to get it off my chest." How does that help him?
It doesn't, no. I also hated that he bothers to ask how long she was with him after she cheated. She says 3 months, and then he's like, "Oh, 3 months." I'm like, if she had said 3 days, you would have been like, "Oh my god, 3 day." Like, I don't think it matters to Uche.
No.
He's, like, just putting her on trial in
Exactly.
this it's
100%.
so gross. It's like, I am still so bewildered how she kept talking to this man after
I
this.
know. It was like I she seemed as like this strong woman, and then she she made her choice not to tell the boyfriend about cheating.
She can't change it.
Yeah, and she kinda just, like, fell into herself, and she was like, "Yeah, I was ashamed," and
Mhm.
ugh.
I hated it. I hated it. He was just trying to make her feel small, and it was so, so, so gross, and,
Yeah.
like, the he's also telling on himself when he thinks that someone can't change in 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Like, I think he says he's 33. I'm like, "Okay, so you've been the same person since you were, like, when does that start? Like,
Let's
18?"
also say that was the pandemic. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, she's probably losing her mind being trapped in a house with someone that wasn't, like,
Doing
d
her.
doing her properly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would go crazy as well. Um, it was so it just really, like, my hackles went up, my stomach dropped, I was just like, "Oh my god," and the way that like, and he, like, tries to like, and this is how he's this, like, trial, this condescending, like, shaming, that's how he's trying to gather information and process it, you know? Because then he has, like, an awkward pause, and then he's like, "Okay, well, thank you for telling me all that," and by the time he gets there, she's walking out of the room because she's been so emotionally obliterated and shamed. And it's like, okay, so every time if this man is how he says people should be, which is you don't change, you don't learn, you don't grow, then this is how he's going to handle every single bit of new information he gleans about you ever. Just like interrogate you, put you on trial, and then like once he has sufficiently like processed it, then he can be gracious, then he can be nice. Like, ugh, like why would you
No.
sign up for that?
I know, and she was crushed. Then she goes back into the, like, common area, and Lydia.
All right, you're making kind of a gross face about
I
Lydia.
think I also said Lydia. Gross. I have nothing good to say about her ever.
Oh, no. Okay, this is
Do you?
interesting.
What's your take on her?
I am I feel like for me, I'm still trying to understand it. Like, apparently, the reason that Aaliyah leaves, and we'll get to it, is, like, because Lydia, like, went off on her and was, like, screaming at her about Uche or something. And I just feel like Lydia got maybe, like, a really bad edit, and she's also, like
She got, like, 7 bad edits.
You mean with, like, different aspects of her relationships or what?
Like, the Aaliyah stuff, the Uche stuff, the Izzy stuff, the Milton, like, all of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So, y wait, are you saying that, like, if you have enough bad edits, that's just you?
Yeah. Like, I love producers, they're genius, but
Yes. If it walks like a duck, if it talks like
yeah.
a duck, she might be a little nuts. Listen, I fully, admit I think Lydia is a little unhinged. I think she is just like, she just wants to she's, like, the most outwardly desperate person we see on the
Oh my
show,
god.
especially at the beginning, you know? She just wants to be in love.
Oh my god, she's just like her entire life. She's only ever wanted to be loved for who she is. When will it happen? Oh my god, that is everyone. You're not cool.
She just doesn't know how to keep it in. I mean, she's like the Jasmine of this franchise, you know?
Well, yeah, she ugh, don't compare her to my queen. But she brings the drama. She brings the drama.
She brings the drama. She can't keep her, like, feelings to herself, which, like, she ends up with Milton, who is, like, the most reserved person ever, you know? And,
Yeah.
like, that obviously causes, like, a little bit of friction in their relationship, but yeah, she just, like, can't she's very unfiltered.
I wouldn't even call her unfiltered, she's obnoxious, and she's, like, kinda calculating, okay? That that conversation she had with Aaliyah after that Aaliyah had that conversation with Uche, where she was like, "I s you like, he doesn't know," and, like, just watching it back and knowing
Mhm.
that they dated
Yeah.
is disgusting, and I was like there was another girl that was sitting next to Aaliyah, and she's just kinda, like, looking like, "Huh?" And it's just like, it's so inappropriate, it's overstepping. Even if she didn't date Uche before, then it's just too much. It's too much of this, like, "I see myself in you," and, like
I mean, that Lydia does tell us that she's always been told she's too much. I when she, like, goes into the lounge and Aaliyah's really crying, Lydia, like, WWE throws her onto this couch, like, wrapped into a blanket, and then I know that she's trying to be Lydia's version of comforting, but she's just, like, yeah, being very smothering with which Aaliyah says again, she's, like, trying to make her make eye contact with her, she's, like I don't think she needed to tell her that they're alike. That was, like, kinda creepy to me.
no,
Like,
it's
that's not necessarily comforting. You don't know in your heart of hearts how Aaliyah feels about you. You, like, live for together for, like, 3 days or whatever, you know? Like, it's weird to say that you're so alike, you're so alike. Oh my god, I see so much of myself in you.
it gives, like, fast friends and just, like or, like, falls hard, falls fast, like and then she's, like, talking to what's her name about it? Stacy? And, like, Stacy's just like, "Okay." Like, "Lydia, shut up."
I think that Lydia and Milton actually are a good match because he was so reserved. He made it a slow burn for Lydia, so she had to kind of slow down with him. I
Mhm.
think that's actually a good match there. But yeah, she was it was hard to watch her and like Izzy break up.
Yeah.
Um
I didn't care.
She when I'm, like, watching Izzy and Lydia's, like, interactions back, I'm like, I think she's just hearing what she wants to hear because she, like, asked him questions. She asked him at one point, "Are are you detail oriented?" And he's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. That's so amazing. We're so alike. We're so alike." And I'm like,
Leading the witness.
"Yes." Yeah, she's just really it's like a confirmation bias or something.
Yeah. I think, like, in that same conversation, she was like, "Do you know what you want? Because I know what I want." Blah, 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 blah. Like, oh my god, girl, shut up.
I think I maybe I have a soft spot for Lydia because I do just see her as, like, a very, like, sensitive, romantic person who just has no filter, and then, like, I hate Uche and whatever weird machismo, misogyny soup he has going on so much, and the way he comes after her later in the season, I'm just like, "Okay, like, whatever's happening here, like, I want Lydia to come on top out on top because he is so gross."
Both of them are gross. Aaliyah needs to well, she respected herself, but then she kinda didn't. But, okay, I don't like, Lydia is definitely worse than Uche. Well, okay, maybe not. Okay, sorry. Uche was a dumbass and gross, like, later on in the season, and we'll get to that, like, there was, like, a barbecue or something. But, like, once Uche told Aaliyah that he had dated Lydia outside the pods, and they had broken up and whatever, and then Lydia just took it upon herself to start telling her everything about Uche. It
Oh,
was
yeah, that
so
was weird.
inappropriate.
That was really inappropriate, yeah, I forgot about that.
What kind of car he drives and, like, just, like, his habits, like, she wasn't asking.
No, you can kinda see Aaliyah get fed up with it, and I think that's a moment where Aaliyah could have drawn a boundary because that's the stuff that you're kinda not supposed to know about in the experiment too, like, it's kind of violating the conditions of the experiment.
But okay, so let's talk about their Uche and Lydia's relationship, like what we know.
Okay.
So they dated for like 3 months outside the pods.
Yeah.
They and then like she got kind of clingy or something. And Uche says that like at one point she like drove past his house and like took a picture and said, "I see you," which we don't know the full context of that. It
Yeah.
could be either super creepy, like I haven't talked to you in months,
Mhm.
or hey, I showed up early at your house.
Yes.
Hey, this is funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's really unclear and, like, I don't think Uche does a good job of explaining what he intends with that, like, quote, unquote, "piece of evidence," you know?
But she doesn't do a good job either
No.
because she gets hella defensive and isn't like,
Yeah.
"Dude, it was a joke, lighten up." Like
Yeah. It also sounds like she maybe had, like, a loss in her family and wasn't doing super well, like, around the time of their breakup or, like, the months afterward. Like, that comes up at some point. I forget when, but I think Uche concedes that she was having a hard time emotionally because of stuff going on in her family, and that might have been while she was acting weird. He also tries to use evidence of, like, her looking at friends' stories as, like, evidence of her being a creep, but, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
like
I was gonna ask you, since you do social media more than me, is that
mhm.
creepy?
I think it is, but, like, everybody does it. Like, when I started dating my partner, he has an ex-wife, and, like, it wasn't that hard to find her on social media, and I was, like, kinda snooping around. I just wanted to, like, understand who this person was. I wasn't, like, proud of it, but I was still, like,
Were you commenting and, like,
"No!
direct
Oh my
messaging?
god!"
Didn't she do that? Didn't she direct message them?
Oh. No, I think he said that, like, she was just watching the stories.
How do you know that?
That's what he said.
But how do they know that she was watching their stories?
'Cause you can see who watches your story.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Oh my god. I watch all the time.
Yeah, you can totally see who's watching your story, and so then,
What? Oh my god, I'm so
but I think because my partner and his ex-wife still follow each other on Instagram, so, like,
I think that's healthy because then it means that, like, they're both over each other and they're not gonna be, like, triggered by
yeah, they're not, like, blocked or anything, but I think I showed up on his Instagram, and so then she started
soft
watching.
launch.
I know Gen Z words. I'm
Yeah.
real cool, lady. I was soft launched on his Instagram. But she found me and definitely started, like, watching my stories, and I was like, I found it a little creepy, but at the same time, it's like, I get it. You just wanna kinda understand what's going on in the life of this person that you, like, used to be around. I think with Lydia's case, maybe he had blocked her on Instagram and she was just trying to understand what he was doing and, like, maybe just trying to get some closure. Like, is he seeing someone else? Did he cheat on me? Like, trying to see if he was, like, with someone else?
Okay, so if you were in that situation where you don't know why someone like, I don't think he ghosted her, or did he ghost her?
No idea.
Let's say he ghosted her,
Okay.
and, like, 3 months, you guys did it a bunch, he ghosts you, blocks you. What is in your head?
35-year-old Roxy is like, good riddance. 23-year-old Roxy is, I'm gonna find this bitch.
Okay, what about 29-year-old Roxy?
29-year-old Roxy.
Yeah, because that's how old she is, right? Or would have been. Find this bitch.
You can't fucking block me. I block you.
Exactly.
29-year-old Roxy, probably gave more fucks than current day Roxy. Might see. I think I might be in a similar place as Lydia because maybe not as like fanatic, but like I think that's why I empathize with her or maybe sympathize. I can like see where she's coming from trying to do all that. What would you do?
Well, 29-year-old Diana would think this guy's an asshole. Like, I would feel bad about myself and sad for a minute, but I'd think, "Fuck him," like, immature, rude, thank you, next. Like, there's something about, like, knowing your self-worth and, like, knowing that that's not how you wanna be treated, so why are you chasing after this guy that's treating you like that?
Well, I think that is a mature response, Diana. But
She just really wants to find someone that loves her for who she is, and that's not him, that's not Uche, so go on to the next one.
well, as we see with like Izzy, she just like hears what she wants to hear and like projects what she wants to see onto the person. And so, Uche said no, and she's like, I need closure. This is how I'm going to try and get closure in this unhealthy way.
So do you think that she followed him or, like, both like, that she applied to the show because Uche applied to the show?
I don't understand this line of logic at all. Like, because even if you apply, you don't know if you're going to get on. And like, they didn't want to date each other once they found out they were both there. Like, I don't.
She did. It seemed like she did and he didn't.
Maybe I'm a Lydia apologist, I guess.
I think that our friendship's gonna survive it, though.
Her and Aaliyah.
No, you being a Lydia apologist.
Oh, you think our friendship? I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I guess that would be like a weird thing to do, like apply just because you heard someone else applied.
That sounds so desperate.
I know, yeah. So I think that means that he did block her then. Because like if she couldn't talk to him any other way.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think, like, it was like 23-year-old Diana was, like, so desperate, like, for, like, attention and, like, there's a tall guy. There's not gonna be another tall guy. Oh my god. Like, I probably would follow. I probably would do what Lydia did, but be like, "No, of course not to chase this tall guy."
Yeah, I don't know that we'll ever understand the full story. Also, Uche didn't show up to the reunion because I feel like his ego can't handle being told that he's wrong.
Well,
So,
I'm pretty sure he's, like, really busy just judging people, so that's a full-time job. He can't step away from it.
yeah, definitely. I also found out that I like Googled his software company and he's a tax lawyer. He's not like a trial lawyer.
Yeah, but that's just how fucking lawyers talk, okay?
Okay.
All of them, regardless of what they do, age, that's how they fucking talk.
Gross. Yeah, I'm thankful I don't know any lawyers. The only one I know is a public defender, and she's just like a really sweet goofball.
Okay, I shouldn't say that's okay, Uchi is an extreme, but, like, if you get a lawyer on, like the defensive or, like, get him, like, heated, it's like
Gonna be like, "Where's your evidence? Show me the witness!" There. Gross.
yeah, I love being related to one, and
I can tell. Oh my goodness. Episode 1 was so intense. We got like so much stuff in that episode. We got this thing about Uche. We got JP wearing red, white, and blue, saying everything he owns is red, white, and blue.
yeah.
And JP also says that he's a dancer. What the fuck? That is not, I cannot see this man cutting a rug anytime, anywhere. And then, yeah, just a lot of just, everybody's starting to kind of mix and mingle. Did you notice anything else weird from episode 1 at all?
Oh, yeah, there were so many things, but okay, I wanna say Carter, the fisherman,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hilarious how he just, like, leans into it and, like, great. Um,
Stacy said he's a real country bumpkin, and she doesn't say anything specific about what she thinks he looks like. She just says, "Fee fi fo fum." That's what I think about Carter. That's so rude. What does that even mean?
Miriam, the scientist, I love
I
her.
love her.
'Cause she was talking to Uche and, like,
Uh-huh.
she is a perfect, like, dodger of, like, full truths, and Uche is, like, putting her on trial, and she's like, "Well, like, skincare," and he's like, "Dermatol" "No, not exactly." Like, "Oh, yeah, no, I already moved back."
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that she
He's
is,
fucking
like,
trolling us.
you think she's trolling you? Okay. I was like, is she just, like, super drunk, or is she just, like, a bad flirt? But maybe she's just a troll because she doesn't like Uche, and just, like, maybe you have to spend a certain amount of time with, like, each person, on the first day or whatever. She was probably just, like, a no on him because he doesn't give good impressions, in my opinion. She said she wanted to do medicine in the UK or US, and she came to the US, and then she decided to do chemistry, but she works in academia in the Middle East. But she also has a skincare business where she offers a distinct composition. And then she said she's going to be moving back to Houston, but then she moved back a couple weeks ago.
I know. I know. All I could say is she still has the job in the Middle East, and she, like, owns an apartment here. So she's like, yeah. Like, you can find the truth in there, but it was, like, so funny. Like, that wasn't a bad edit. That was
No. This comes up at that, like, the infamous barbecue that we'll talk about in part 2 of this, where he's like, "You don't even have a job!" It's like, "Okay, sick burn, Uche, like, nobody cares. Like, you were the one being trolled, so have a sense of humor." Oh my god.
okay. So I don't know which episode it was. It was just kinda like watching it all, but there were 3 stories that I didn't care about. Like tearjerker stories that I was like, "Okay, I understand that this is your truth and this is your interpretation, but it's been really dramatized and maybe the timing is off and just."
Okay. Elaborate.
I'm dead inside. Let's just
Okay.
preference it with that. I did not care about Johnny's ex-boyfriend, like, slash
Oh.
husband. Like, that was rough. That's a rough story.
Wait,
J
ex-husband and boyfriend that died are
They're 2
different.
different people, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, didn't the boyfriend dying prompt her marriage to end?
Yes.
I mean, it's interesting, but I don't know, like, something about the way she was telling it, I was like,
I It clearly affected her. It was also a long time ago, and she's moved on. So, yeah, I think you're right, like, the gravity that she put on it didn't make it seem like she'd moved on as much as she had, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, and this was her opening up to Chris after she had dumped Chris trying to go for Izzy.
Yeah. And she tells Izzy, and it throws him for a loop.
Wait, sorry, am I
I
misunderstanding
think you might be mixing them up.
mixing them up? Okay,
She tells Izzy that thing about
okay,
how her marriage was like a rebound from her
yeah,
partner with addiction issues, and then when the previous partner died, it kind of caused her marriage to collapse.
and she never really loved her ex-husband.
Right. And I think, like, in that moment, in that conversation, I feel like he's shutting down because this is all new information, but B, like, she's telling him she got married to someone that she didn't love. And so,
Mhm.
like, I think that is more the scarier part for him than
True.
the fact that she was with people with addiction issues. Because that would be the scarier part for me. You know, like, people have addiction issues. Sometimes you don't always know. Like, someone that I dated in my, like, mid later 20s was apparently, like, a full-blown alcoholic, and I had no idea until he, like, was doing the, like, one of the steps in the 12 steps is, like,
Yeah.
apologizing, and I was like, "Oh, this is all very new information." Like, would have been good context for how weird you were when I was trying to date you. But, like, shit like that happens.
Yeah. I agree with you that the getting married to someone you don't love, a rebound marriage, that's the red flag, not this heavy story about the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and now you're in this, like, really okay, so you had this, like, weird traumatic past, and now you think that throwing yourself into this also very weird and for some people traumatic experiment is gonna be the way to love? Like, yeah, just some very, very odd choices.
Yes.
Odd choices.
And then just her choice to dump Chris without knowing, like, Izzy's intent. Like, that's not the experiment.
Yeah, it was premature, and then she just ends up hurting Chris for no reason.
Yeah, and there was that weird, like, "You're the safe choice. No, he's the safe choice." Like,
Like, when that first all happened, I was like, "She didn't contradict herself." And then I watched again, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, she, like, really did."
yeah, but also didn't Izzy kinda contradict himself? Like, he had a similar thing about, like, the, like, safe choice versus the like, it was all stupid.
Clearly, she can't see him, obviously, but he's quiet. He says he's processing, he needs time, and then she just gets defensive and starts, like, telling him they're always gonna be learning things about each other and, like, trying to, like, make this pitch
Oh,
for
yeah,
him to
exactly, it gets
choose relax, like, it's okay for people to need time. She also tells him to stop being scared, which I thought was really icky. Like,
Mhm.
he's not I don't think he knows what he's feeling right now. You just told him a ton of new information, and he's allowed and entitled to time to figure out what that means for himself. But I think, like, I think she was getting defensive because she was super scared that this thing about herself was gonna end it.
When it was just her personality.
I don't think I understand Johnny's personality, really. She doesn't seem like a very, like, funny person. She just seems, like, very sensitive and serious, kinda like Chris, you know? Looking at it, I'm like, maybe she and Chris are, like, too alike, and, like, I think Izzy and Stacy might be actually, I don't think Izzy and Stacy are that alike.
No,
I don't think they're very compatible.
I didn't think anyone was compatible.
Not even Lydia and Milton?
No.
You just don't like Lydia.
I hate Lydia. Milton Milton's funny. I like how young he is. I like his cowhide rugs and just how young he is and his roommates and yeah, how tall he is. He's tall. I'll date Milton.
So tall. He does, like he impresses me towards the end of the season, but yeah, seeing his, like, roommate apartment and how sparse it is and how he just, like, really lives like a bachelor is a bummer, but he's also
He's 24.
24, so
I
I think
was
we give men too much of a pass for living like that.
They don't notice. I was talking with Brody about, like we were talking about, like, people's houses, like, family members' houses and, like, how they are, and I'm like, "Man, you are so lucky to have me." And he's like, "I mean, like, I kept my house clean." I was like, "Because you had a cleaner and no roommates." Like, but your house was, like, would you have been proud to, like, have people, like, host your family? It's like, "Well, you wouldn't, like, host when you're, like, a single guy." And I'm like, "Well, why not?" Because
Yeah,
you
why
had,
not?
like, nude, like, boob paintings on on the wall and, like, no stairs on, like, or no carpet on some of your stairs, like, yes,
Oh
the
my
shower
goodness.
and toilets and kitchen was clean, but, like, nothing there was no comforts of home.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not comfortable. It's like the bare minimum. It's like a place to sit and like,
he goes, "I had a couch." I was like, "Kai had a couch. The dog had a couch. It was not your couch."
why don't single men have dining tables? That is always so disconcerting for me.
Well, they should, so you can play beer pong.
I'm so glad I'm not the only person that gives my partner shit for how much better I've made their life. I was like on vacation with some friends like a couple weeks ago, and I was just like enumerating all the ways I've made my partner's life better. And they were like, "Well, what does he bring to the table?" And I was like, "He's nice."
Penis.
If his mom is listening, he brings a lot more to the table than being nice and penis, but
Don't know if I can say the same for I'm just kidding. I like him.
yeah. It's hard to like men,
Yeah.
okay? I'm sure gay men can sympathize here. It's hard to like men. I mean, look at the suite of bachelors we have on this show. It's rough. It's rough out there.
I need to ask you, what type of kisser are you?
Talk to the hand.
Yeah.
Talk to my hand. Such a dumb
Like, that
question.
is such a dumb question.
Oh my god.
Um,
I'm not a Stacy fan. I think she needs to get some sleeves and learn that just putting like a big stripe of orange across your face isn't
That's
contouring.
contouring. That is contouring.
Did you know that she brands herself as a makeup artist?
I thought she was an operations manager, but then she's a Pilates instructor?
Yeah, I don't know.
Makeup artist.
She on her Instagram, she says she's a Pilates teacher and has a closet organizing business.
Sounds fun, actually.
Her dad says that if Izzy doesn't help her with the HVAC, then it's his responsibility. So I think we know where her house came from.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't know how you buy a big ass house in a major metropolitan area with a Pilates instructor salary, unless you own the studio, which she doesn't appear to.
Well, that's in reason why you wouldn't have the house because you had to put a significant amount of money into getting that franchise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have much to say about Stacey, like, while she's in the pods. I respected that she kept it quiet.
Yeah.
Um,
She says that she and Izzy have the same they're talking about like kind of kind of deal breakers or just like biggest fears in the
mhm.
relationships at one point, and they basically say they fear the same thing, like abandonment. And Izzy says he wants to be loved unconditionally.
Just for who he is.
Turns out Stacey has a lot of conditions.
I think that, like, the unconditional love,
Yeah, you can't say that out the gate.
like, okay, obviously everyone wants to be loved unconditionally
Yeah.
by their partner,
Hmm.
but that doesn't even come, I think, with, like, the initial, like, "I love you."
Yeah.
Like, it's so far down, and I know that this experiment is supposed to have them accelerate, like, this relationship trajectory accelerated, but it's still
Yeah. It's not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in life, it turns out. I also noticed that she's wearing these sneakers that I've seen on Southern sorority Instagrams. They're called Golden Goose. They look like a they, like, have these little golden stars on them, I think, and they look like they're already broken in, like, I've never seen any of those sneakers look like what I would consider, like, new and unworn,
Mhm.
but the price tag on these things is, like, $550 for,
Yeah.
like, a very basic set of dirty looking sneakers.
Are they all worn in?
Are you
One
looking
of
them
my
up?
friend yeah, I mean, I know them. I don't put that expensive of things on my feet. Oh, I think you oh, yeah, there are a bunch that look like scuffed at the bottom and whatever. Yeah, no, they're my friend that likes brands, she has them.
I don't know, it just seems like snake oil to me, you know? Like, because how is that sneaker any different than, like, a Converse with a star on it? And now you're
It's probably, like, really good for your feet and your ego, mainly that ego.
the ego helps the feet.
Yes. So, where do we wanna go from here? Do we wanna talk about their well, we haven't really talked about JD and Taylor.
Oh, JP and Taylor.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, JP and Taylor.
JP is a walking red, white, and blue flag.
Yeah, how old is
I
he?
I don't know. He's wearing an American flag shirt several times on this show.
Loves those socks.
Yeah. And he had, like, a handkerchief, I think that was red, white, and blue. Mm.
Yeah.
I feel like that I guess she couldn't see that, through the wall or whatever.
He definitely talked about it.
Oh, yeah, that's true, he did talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that's maybe not a red flag in Texas, but that would have been a red flag for me.
They were pretty all in on each other the whole time. It was just them. Do you think that they got engaged, like, early? Like, how does that work? Like, did they just, like, run through their love story and then they got engaged at the same time as, like, everyone else?
What I've read is that there's, like, an engagement day. So, if you're gonna get engaged, you're gonna do it on this specific day, and everybody gets dressed up, but based on what's happening in your storyline, they might, shoot you to the front to make it seem like you got engaged really quick. So, I think in their case, like, there's just not a ton going on with them until they get to Mexico, and so I think they just kind of said, "We need to get them, show them getting engaged so they're kind of, like, out of our faces."
Yeah, and they're just there in the common areas.
Yeah.
So I like, while they were in the pods, I thought that they were, like, a decent match, like, it's cute, she's, like, a kindergarten teacher, and he's a firefighter, and she seems to like that he's so, like, Merca,
Yeah.
and they're both good looking,
Yeah.
or seemed good looking at the time. Yeah, and then Sugar Butt.
Barf. Sugar bud.
Sugar Butt. Did she say that that's what she calls her boyfriends, or did she make that up for him?
Oh, I don't remember.
It was some awkward thing. She's like, "So what nicknames do you have for people for your" like, I'm like, I think it's funny to say babe,
Babe. Hey, babe. Babe.
and
Yeah.
Brody does not like, he just thinks it's so annoying. I'm like, "But it's funny. I just said, like, anything for you, babe." Like, I don't
Agreed.
seriously call him babe, but
Right. Right. I get it. Yeah. I'll only do that if we're, like, pretending to be Valley girls or something. Yeah, I'm never gonna I don't think I use pet names as much in public either, and if I was ever on TV, I would probably cut that shit out also as well.
well, I find it, like, growing up, like, grandparents and parents, like, there'd be, like, honey and dear and, like, sweetie, and I feel like that was just, like, generic terms that, like, Like, it wasn't just, like, my parents, like, I swear I heard other people's parents say, like, "dear" and "honey." Maybe it was TV or something. But, like, that's like, I hate that, like, transfer to other people, you know? Like like, Taylor called a neck like, maybe Taylor called an ex-boyfriend sugar butt. Like,
Oh, yeah. Like, you think a pet name should be reserved for, like, that person,
yeah, you have to
and
earn it.
you should retire it.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. They're a weird one. I didn't really understand what they really had in common, like, they were vulnerable with each other at, like, different times, but I didn't necessarily see that as, like, a super deep connection, but I don't know them.
Yeah. She's really young too. Wasn't she 23 or 24?
I think she's older than Milton. I think 25, but yeah,
Okay.
still pretty young. And then I don't remember how old he is, but he's definitely like a couple years older than her.
But so when they get engaged, it's so awkward. Just like mute.
I would be so I would be so nervous.
Are you talking about the like initial like seeing each other?
Yes, that
Okay.
would make me so nervous. I mean, yeah, he's like super awkward immediately. I guess I could give him some grace because it's the first time meeting someone, but yeah, he just really clams up, it seems like anytime he feels uncomfortable. Later when they're in Mexico, he says that the reason he isn't attracted to her is because she wore so much makeup
Yeah.
when they
It
met.
seemed fake.
So fake, but like she's like a normal amount. I didn't even think she was wearing that much makeup in this.
No. I mean, she had concealer on so that her freckles weren't showing. Fine. Like, and then she had fake eyelashes on. That doesn't mean she's shallow. Like, that doesn't mean that
No.
she's fake. Like,
It wasn't like Stacy level stripes of orange across her face, you know?
no. Yeah.
It was blended. I took note that he tells her he likes her face and he kisses her even with her lipstick and makeup on. So it's like he doesn't mention anything like, "Oh, I don't want to smear your makeup," or like anything like that, you know?
Yeah. No, it was super like that conversation, we'll get into it next episode, like with Mexico, but like that conversation made zero sense to me. It was like a weird cop out
Totally.
for like
Yeah.
him being just like fuckward.
Yeah, he's an odd bird for sure. After they meet, Stacy reads the dumbest worst poem to Miriam ever. And Miriam is very nice about laughing and calling it hilarious and not fucking stupid, which it is. She's like, "Oh, Izzy, you make me want a cocktail with something fizzy."
Yeah.
So
Wait,
cringe.
yeah, no, wait, that was before. That was like what made him choose her. It was something like that. It was weird.
Izzy keeps saying that he was really into Johnny, but then Stacy came out of nowhere. Like, what does that mean? Stacy came out of nowhere and like changed his mind.
At one point, like I think sorry, at one point I think Izzy had mentioned that he wasn't having like deep conversations with Stacy.
Yeah,
And then I think Stacy was like that's when Stacy was like, "Hey, we're going to continue to get to know each other. Like I'm not going to just like open up immediately." And I think that was like him or that was her kind of like convincing him like cuz there I get it. Like opening up immediately is not natural to most people, except for Lydia. And so I guess he was like, "Okay, like it's a slow burn with this one, like in a good way."
do you think that paid off for him?
Sure didn't. Nope. Wasn't there was a conversation, I forget what their names were, but the ballerina and whoever she ended up marrying in the last season,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
she also was very like surface level.
Both Stacy and I think her name was Colleen, like in the pods, they're like, because when Izzy pushes her to be like, I have other connections. They're a lot more emotionally available than you. She's like, well, I don't think that's very fun. I think it's okay to just be surface level and fun. I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to,
I respect it. I don't actually like Stacy, but I respect that.
I guess, yeah. And then, it's up to Izzy to take it or leave it, which I guess he like bought in. But
Mhm.
yeah, and Colleen was the same way. She was like, I guess I'm shallow. I like being shallow. That's me. I'm shallow.
Yeah,
Do I believe that someone could be as shallow as they are? No, I think it's a coping mechanism and a defense mechanism.
and cameras.
And right, that's what the next thing I was gonna say. Like, and yeah, nobody needs to divulge everything on camera. That's fine.
Except for Lydia.
This woman's never gonna catch a break with you. Lydia and Milton have a really funny date where they're just talking about being a nerd, and he asked Lydia about her greatest accomplishment in life. She gets to tell this great story about getting her master's while she was working at like a pasta restaurant and still getting like basically a 4.0 GPA. She asked him about his biggest trauma in life. But she gets like, I think, interesting story out of him about like this back injury he sustained. I was just like, context. Okay. I went on this date like a long time ago where this guy just like talked at me for 45 minutes and I was getting really irritated. And then after after a while, I was like, so we've been here for like 45 minutes and you haven't asked me a single question. And he was like, oh, okay. What's your biggest fear? And I'm like, oh my God, that's the best you can do. Like, I felt like that was kind of basically Lydia's question, you know?
Both of them were interview questions. What's your
Yes.
biggest accomplishment? And
Yeah.
then she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can do my monologue and just tell him how, like, impressive I am and just how I wanna be loved for who I am, and who I am is so amazing because I had a 4.0 and worked and served pasta, but also went to school," like, and then he's like, "Yeah, I mean, it hurt my back."
Yeah.
Like, he
They're both like really odd birds. I really do like their partnership at the end of it all. I think they balance each other out really well. But yeah, watching them get to know each other is really cringe. It's very, very hard to watch.
Yeah. Their meeting, like, when they got engaged, it
Oh my
wasn't that
God.
awkward, or am I misremembering this?
I wanted to crawl out of my skin,
Tell me.
but that's not necessarily how everyone feels. Like, just he was like, he does this a lot with her, and I think it's just from him being such a tall person, but he's always like kind of hugging her from behind and kind of like wrapping her up from behind, and they're just kind of having these
Get her
like,
in a chokehold, just,
yeah.
you know,
They're
almost like
always
a
kind of
hang.
having these really goofy little like side interacting with each other kind of like from the side but also from behind and in front, and they just really didn't seem to know how to interact physically with each other. That was
Yeah.
my impression.
But they seemed into each other.
Yeah, I guess the chemistry was there. I think what I noticed with other stuff is like the chemistry definitely seems to be there. It's just like Milton doesn't seem to have a lot of like relationship
Swag.
experience. Like he or swag. Yes. He's like, oh my God. We haven't even talked about his hair, man.
What's wrong with his hair?
You see no problems with Milton's haircut.
I don't think I did.
Are
Maybe
you looking at
I'm
him
gonna
up?
look it up right now.
Okay. there's just like there's just like no, I mean, they Milton and Lydia both, their hair just like,
Oh, it's, like, shaved on the side? It's, like, shaved, like, by the ears? Yeah.
but just a little bit, but then it's like not really an afro. I just don't think it's very flattering for his head shape because he has kind of like a tiny head. Like, I think if he faded the sides, it would be just like a lot more flattering. It would kind of like elongate his face a little. Like, yeah. And his friends at his wedding, they like give him shit for his terrible haircut too. And then, yeah, Lydia has this kind of insane side part. She always has it kind of like she's taking the millennial side part kind of like to a new level. But then by the time we see her at the reunion, her hair looks really, really nice. She like dyed it back to its natural color and it's like middle parted. And I think it's just like a lot more flattering for her face.
Yeah, that is an intense side part. I give curly hair people passes with
Yeah.
parts. Yeah, and she does have very curly hair. Ugh, I just hate her face.
I don't live a curly hair life. I don't.
And it shows. Your straight hair is showing.
It is. It's all on top of my head. Yeah, so I'm glad that Lydia seems to have found a hairstyle that like is more flattering in the end, but Milton at the reunion, he still has that weird little half fro, and I don't really think it's doing him any favors. But
Slide into his DM and tell him.
I am sure so many barbers reached out to him after this show, and I'm sure he's ignored all of them because he's is like a weird little stubborn engineer
'Cause he
type.
said, "Love is blind. It doesn't matter what my hair looks like."
I think you got a point there.
Yeah.
He's like, I got the woman. I have a wife.
Yeah.
Why do I need to cut my hair? Oh my God.
I just have to say, as a tall person, it hurts me. It's like a knife to the heart, their height difference.
Oh yeah. Stacy calls it out in Mexico. She's like, you're both gonna have neck problems. Cause like she's cranking her neck up to kiss him and he's like bending in half to kiss
Yeah.
her. How tall do you think she is? She's like probably like 5'2", 5'3". Cause he's
Yeah,
like
she's short.
he's like 6'6" or something, right?
You
Six
think he's
eight.
only 6?
I don't know. Yeah, he's very tall. I think he might be 6'8". I might be remembering that.
It says 6'7" on the internet.
Oh boy. That's a lot of dude. It's a lot of human.
That's short to me.
You couldn't even.
No.
Well, you have high standards.
I
But
sure do. Oh, you know what we haven't circled back on is Uche and Aaliyah. Aaliyah just
Yeah.
left.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so we talked about them. Yeah, she left because apparently, I don't know where I heard this. I think it was some article or Instagram or something, but apparently, you know, Lydia is telling Aaliyah all this stuff, and then they like take like a van, I guess, from like where the lounge and the pods are, the filming studio to a hotel every night, and then they like lock them away in the hotel. But they're not being filmed during that time. But I guess apparently like Lydia like screamed at Aaliyah about something. I guess she kind of alludes to it on this phone call that Uche and Aaliyah eventually have.
Uh-huh.
Aaliyah says there was an exchange of words.
Yeah. From what I understand, Aaliyah said some joke about like, "Oh, well, if like this doesn't work out, like you can have him back."
Mm-hmm.
Which is okay. Clearly it didn't land, but like lighten
Yeah.
up.
Yes. Clearly I guess now that I'm thinking about it with you not being a Lydia apologist in the same way I am. Yeah, that doesn't look really good. Like there's clearly something unresolved there if that joke or whatever is going to hit you in that way.
Yeah. And then Lydia, like for Aaliyah to leave, it must have been some like toxic ass shit.
Totally. And then they have this phone call. Like they tell, okay, Uche goes to the pod and then Aaliyah's already left. And so then producers put her on a phone call and then he just starts lecturing her about her having feelings when she's, like, trapped in this weird experiment. She, like, kind of tries to get him to understand that point of view because he's like, "You can't even stand 1 day with her being in this experiment," and it's like, it's not just the 1 day, it's like, I've been with her for, like, however many days, and now I'm seeing all that as kinda like a weird farce, and I don't feel safe with her because she's
Yeah,
screaming at me, like
and she's not desperate, so she didn't compromise herself and stay in the
mhm.
experiment.
Protect Aaliyah at all costs. She seems like a
Yes,
real gem of a human. Like, yeah,
I
I
agree.
don't even understand why she's here. She's like a so far above this. I I don't even know why she's here.
She just loves.
She's an ICU nurse. She's not like Uche who has like a software program to sell or like Stacy who has like a like a closet organizing business to sell,
They're
It's
all
like
here for love. Can you not say that they're here for the wrong reasons?
Yeah, he's just like telling her how to feel, telling her what to do, telling her she's wrong for not wanting to be uncomfortable.
Yes, he is tells her, like, "No, that's not why you left. You" like, I don't exactly remember what he said, but he was like, "And this is why you did it." And it's like, "No, you can't tell her what she did and, like, the motivations behind it, like, you
Oh my
chauvinist
god.
asshole."
He's so gross. Yeah, he says she's selfish for not thinking about him. And then she's like, "Well, are you thinking about me?" Which is the correct question. And he's just like, does like can't process or like accept that he might be wrong in this instance. He doesn't give a
Mhm.
shit about her. Doesn't give a shit about her.
No, no. You just, like, someone to yell and lecture at, which is
Yeah.
not someone you wanna ever be in a relationship with.
No, like, yeah, what is
He has some growing up to do.
like, what did he and Lydia even do when they were in a relationship? Did they just yell at each other and have hot sex? Is that, like, what it was? Just, like, getting, like, mad at each other and then fucking?
Well, they both do get passionate. So, yes, I think you just explained it.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah, Uj, gross. I did not feel bad about him. And it's also like, I think you said it maybe earlier, or maybe we were talking, sorry, but they can date afterwards.
Well, it sounds like they did.
I thought that they didn't because, like, they met up and then
Okay.
she was,
Again, I'm online too much.
oh,
So,
wow. Ooh.
Uche
You have, like, the secret in and out menu, like
Well, they say that she says at the reunion that they dated, but then the Uche that she ended up dating was more the, like,
yes, you're
lecturing
right.
father type. But they have this lunch, and they say in that one, like, "I don't think we're gonna date," but then Uche posted a video of that. They dubbed his voice over saying, like, "I think this is over for us," and he posted that video being like, "This is a wild line." Like, they took this out of context from another part of filming and put it in here because we don't see him saying that on camera.
Hmm.
So, he's alleging that well, I mean, I think it was true. They both admitted that they dated after this lunch that they had. I don't understand the grip that this man had on sweet Aaliyah that she, like, endured these lectures this many times and then still tried to date him.
I know, she doesn't even know how big his dick is. What what is this?
Oh my god, yeah, we'll never know.
Well, I'm sure Leah will listen, so Leah, if you could tell us.
Oh my god, wait. They Aaliyah and Uche at one point were talking about what their house together was gonna be like, and she says she needs a woman cave for her, like,
Mhm,
painting and guitar and poetry writing, and then Uche's like, "Oh my god, you're into poetry. I used to do spoken word poetry."
mhm.
What do you think his poetry was about?
Ooh, oh my god, beautiful question. Okay. Being right and shaming people, rules.
The feeling of
Yeah.
one thing out of place makes me want to tell you you're a terrible woman. Woman, 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 you are a
Bad,
terrible, selfish
bad,
woman.
bad, bad.
Wow, I think we just wrote a
Yeah,
beautiful piece of Uche
we did.
poetry. Wrote and performed.
Yes.
And performed.
Good job.
Yeah. I think at poetry reads they snap. Oh my gosh.
Do you have anything else? Because I have a fuck, marry, kill.
No, let's hear it. I'm so excited.
I took it. I took it straight from the first episode.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill. Waffles, pancakes, French toast.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, beautiful. So I'm gluten intolerant and I can't really do any
They're
of
all
those,
gluten free.
but if they were
They're all
gluten
gluten
free,
free.
they're gluten free.
Mhm. They could
Um
be vegan if you wanted to.
I'm a motherfucking being. I'm not. Old joke, sorry, y'all. Okay. Fuck the pancakes.
Ooh, okay.
Don't really have a rationale for that, but I am going to marry the waffles because waffles all time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'll have to kill the French toast.
So I debated this in my head. Waffles, yeah, all time best
Yeah.
waffles. Any kind,
Mhm.
from Eggo to Belgium to whatever. Waffles.
Yeah.
And then I'm I typically think I'm more of a pancake girl than a French toast girl,
Uh-huh.
but the fact that waffles and pancakes are the same-ish batter, are they the same batter?
I think so. Yeah.
I gotta fuck the French toast and kill the pancakes.
Oh, interesting because they're doing something so much objectively shittier with the same
Mhm.
like
And, like,
materials.
you get the same, like, kinda, like, satisfaction of the bite with the French toast,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
And Brody's really into French toast. I don't think I'd ever had French toast until he started making it.
I will say I'm not usually like a sweets girl, and so I think you can make savory French toast more easily. So it
Mhm.
has that going for it, but like I'm never gonna order
Yeah.
French toast on my own.
Oh, but there
Yeah,
is why did I just think of this? There's, like, Captain Crunch French toast at this place in Hawaii.
damn.
Yeah. So it's like they bread the French toast with, like, Captain Crunch.
What the
Or
f
or Fruity Pebbles or something, like, okay,
what?
yeah, definitely fucking those French toasts, they're hella freaky.
Wow.
There's so many
That's incredible.
options.
That's incredible.
What a
Incroyable.
world we live in.
Okay, I think I have a fuck, marry, kill. All right, JP's red, white, and blue socks,
Okay.
his American flag handkerchief that he had spread all over the couch, or or the American flag shirt that he was wearing in the lounge.
Okay, okay. Okay, it was sorry, you said socks, handkerchief, shirt.
And shirt. Yeah, he had a button down.
I'm gonna marry that handkerchief. I don't know. It's an accessory. Sure.
Mhm.
I'm gonna fuck the socks because it seems kinky.
I need to know if they're gonna be in there sucking my toes all the time.
And then I'll kill the shirt.
Okay. I didn't think about that too hard, but that feels correct.
Yeah.
And I'd probably do the same thing. Yeah. All right. Is that enough stupidity for today?
I think so.
All right.
That was
Well,
that was stupid.
yes. Well, look out for more
Yeah.
stupidity next week when we go over the second part of this Love is Blind experience,
Yeah.
experiment. Yeah,
Experiment, adventure,
sure.
journey.
All right. Thanks,
Great.
y'all. Bye.
Thanks.